Tonight, Hermantown leaders are apologizing after leaked audio revealed insults and expletives directed at data center opponents in a private meeting.
Now, here's an excerpt from that June meeting. It's audio that was shared anonymously with the Duluth Monitor, who was the first to report the story.
What's that? Is that Cluckert? Yeah. Cluckert. I call him Cluckert. Oh, yeah. I would, if I had to announce his name, I would do it on purpose on accident. Oh, I mean Cluckert. Cluckert's an idiot. I would say I'm going to go with the 3 because Cluckert's an idiot. He continues to be an idiot. The native chick was a gong show.
In that recording, you can hear the city leaders, including Hermantown Police Chief Jim Grace, use an expletive and other derogatory words to describe 2 data center opponents.
And tonight was the first Hermantown City Council meeting since those recordings were made public. That
meeting wrapped up just a half hour ago as nearly 50 members of the public discussed the leaked comments and updates on the proposed data center.
And Northern News Now's Ella Schoberl joins us live from Hermantown City Hall. Ella, sounds like a lot of folks were upset about those comments from city staff.
Absolutely, where a lot of folks were at public comment tonight saying for the resignation of Police Chief Jim.
The comments I made were inappropriate, disrespectful, and uncalled for. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect.
Hermantown's police chief and others apologized at the start of Hermantown City Council Monday night after the Duluth Monitor first reported on leaked audio from city staff meetings. Those comments now leading to a larger investigation.
We believe action needs to be taken and intend to ask an outside entity to investigate these recordings and their contents.
But some members of the public say they don't just want to see an investigation, but for all parties to be held accountable through disciplinary action.
Why didn't one of you have the guts to say this is wrong?
Before public comment, Google reps shared key updates on Monday night's meeting as the project's AUAR has been finalized and will now be sent to council for approval. During the presentation, representatives also said that they are taking action to be more transparent with the public.
We have mutually agreed to terminate any non-disclosure agreements with city staff, ensuring all relevant project details remain fully accessible as formal agreements are considered.
But some Hermantown residents say that the damage from the NDAs have already been done.
It is too little, too late to consider this as being for public transparency. The NDAs prevented our staff leaders in communication and community engagement to do the main function of their job.
There was also a presentation tonight on utility changes and what Google representatives called public improvement for the data center. That includes reconstruction of Midway Road and sanitary sewer changes. And they say that construction is expected to start just in spring of 2027. Live in Hermantown, Ella Schoberl, Northern News Now.
Thank you, Ella. We also spoke with one of the people mocked by city leaders in that leaked audio. You can hear his response and watch that story on the Northern News Now app and our website.